Hello and welcome to the incredibly influential and highly successful podcast. I'm incredibly influential.
And I'm highly successful.
Today is Friday, October 21st, 2022, as we're recording this. I want to dedicate this episode to Carmex because I busted my lip on, I don't know if it was Sunday or Monday, but it has been busted all week, and that is like the only thing that's keeping me sane. Yeah, it looks bad. It looks like I got decked in the fucking face. It's not good.
You see, I don't use Carmex. I use like an aloe vera lip balm thing.
Yeah, I actually used the aloe vera because yeah, the thing I got hit with yeah, aloe vera usually helps with that stuff, with the healing, uh at least in that area, I think. Um but yeah, yeah. What really sucks though is whenever I get a busted lip, I have to stay away from my dogs because the last time that I like pet my dogs and then like touched my lip, what I got something called angioedema, which I don't know if you guys in the audience or you, Trey, are familiar with, but it's like an allergy thing. And your basically what happened to me is I had a cut on my lip, and I think some like dog fur or dog dander got in, and basically that area of my lip swelled up to the size of a grape. It was insane. It was huge. Very very much not the most fun thing in the world. And
See,
yeah,
I have to say, this seems like it could have been avoided very easily. You could have washed your hands.
I didn't realize at the time because it had been a while. And so I just absentmindedly like went and like wiped my lip. And I was on FaceTime with someone actually. And uh she was like, "Oh yeah, your lips kind of swelling up." Oh yeah, it's fine cuz I could see myself in the corner, right? And sometimes it will just swell up like a little bit but it usually doesn't get that big and then it like goes away in a few hours, but it swelled up to like huge size while I was on the phone with her, and I was like, hmm, maybe that's not normal. Maybe I should go to the hospital for that. And I did. And they're just like, oh, yeah, that's just angioedema. Take a Benadryl, you'll be fine. And I did, and it just went away overnight. It was insane. I tried to pop it. I poked it with a toothpick because I tried to pop it. I was like, there's a lot of liquid in there. I wonder what would happen if it exploded. So I poked it a little bit, but it didn't pop. You
Yeah.
know, I feel like that's like the natural urge for like everyone is to just pop those things because like like Dr. Pimple Popper, everyone loves Dr. Pimple Popper apparently. So, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any stories you want to tell the audience about this week?
Was that a this week story? Your
No, well
little.
that was a long time ago, but I got the busted lip on what was it?
Can we
Monday.
elaborate on how you got the busted lip?
So my dog came home. I guess long to make it a long story. Last Friday, we went to the Notre Dame game, Notre Dame v Stanford. Um, it was pretty cool. I stayed with some family near there, and yeah, we went to Notre Dame v Stanford. We thought that Stanford's like the worst team in the league, so they would uh you know get crushed by Notre Dame, but no, it was a brutal ass game because the um I won't say it for certain, but I suspect that some of those refs are going to be Stanford parents. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. But it was like freezing cold that night, so my lips got like super brittle and got like kind of messed up. And then when we got home, like, because they had already started to like dry out super bad because it was very very cold and very very dry, so they had already kind of started to get bad. And then when my dog came home, he was really happy to see me, and I got a little bit too close, and then he kind of like jumped up to like come. He tries to give a hug with his, like, he'll like stand up and put his paws on you, but I was a little bit too far down, and he accidentally got me in the face. So that was not fun, but you know, I'll live.
Yeah, yeah, my dog does that too. My dog's not quite as big as yours, I don't think, though, because my dog gets about waist high when I'm standing up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you have a big dog, though, don't you?
Yeah, I have a golden retriever. He's about 75 pounds.
You see, my dog's like a mix. I think that it's part German Shepherd, but it's very, very small for, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I don't know what it's mixed with,
yeah, maybe.
but it's very interesting.
But yeah, is there any stories you want to tell about this week?
Uh, I went to the Renaissance Festival, the Texas Renaissance Festival on Saturday.
Tell us more about that.
Have you ever been to a Renaissance Festival, Nick? Or do you know what it is?
That's cool. That's cool. Sorry, I had to take off my sweatshirt, so I took off my headset. So I was trying to get you to say something while I did that.
That's funny. The first thing I asked you was a question, and you just weren't there. You fumbled it.
I'm I had figured that maybe that would have been a little bit clearer, or I thought maybe I could like hear it a little bit more, but I couldn't. I'm sorry.
You
Lo
see, like
siento.
my cue from muting myself was whenever he said, "Oh man, if I want to make this a long story," and I muted myself, ate my food. It was great. But I was saying, have you ever been to a Renaissance Festival, or do you know what a Renaissance Festival is?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Should I tell that story?
Oh, you have a
Should I
Renaissance
tell
Festival
that story?
story. I don't really have much of a story. I was just gonna tell you how it went. But if you have an actual story, yeah, sure.
I do. I do actually. This is actually really fun. So, this was back when I was about 6 or 7. I don't think my mom had remarried yet. Um but I was very 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 sick, and my late grandmother uh, had wanted to go to the Renaissance Fair with my parents, and they were like, well, with my mom and who would be my stepmom. And they were like, oh yeah, that's cool. But I was sick as a dog. I was so miserable, dude. You do not even get it. Like, uh, oh, just the worst, like flu and cold, and I had really bad allergies then too, so that just made it worse. I don't even remember what time of year it was. If it was like a summer cold, which is even worse, or if it was like a winter cold. Um, but all I remember is just like this was before I had like sat down and watched like the Lord of the Rings. So I thought, oh, it's nerd shit, right? Like I was a Star Wars kid growing up, so I was also into nerd shit too, but I was just in denial about it. Um, but I I couldn't stand like the medieval fantasy type shit. I thought it was nerd shit, and yeah, I did not have a good time, and I made it sure that everyone didn't have a good time because I was like a 6 year old kid who was super sick. And yeah, no, it was awful, and everyone was miserable. And to this day, my parents have agreed never to go to a Renaissance fair with me. It was, yeah, an experience.
With
How
that,
was your Renaissance fair experience? How was yours?
well, I am not really the type of person to go to these sort of things, right? It was my second time going. My girlfriend was the one that kind of pushed me to go both times. I find it fun. The only thing is, if we would have gone like a month later, the weather would have been a lot nicer because it was like summer sun, or not the summer sun, but the Texas sun. You know what I mean? Beating down on us all day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's nice. There's a whole bunch of different like areas to eat and all that. We had a couple of things to eat. Um, Everything's super expensive, but that's to be expected, right? I ended up going in costume with Jennifer.
I'm not surprised.
She picked my costume out because I was like, I don't know what I want to go as. And she just picked one out, so I was a pirate, you know. And
Uh,
she was a fairy, and I was like, these costumes don't match, and she was like, that's okay, and I'm like, all right, that's fine, you know.
I don't think um I don't think pirate is technically all that medieval either.
Well, I meant like we'll match with each other.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it happened to be Fairy Week when we went, and the next week would have been Pirate Week, but we're not going this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, I wouldn't.
um, it's really nice the first time you go because everything's new and wow and exciting, right? Whenever you go the second time, you kind of pick up on the fact that most of it's more or less the same, you know, which that's cool if that's what you're into. More of a good thing sometimes is exactly what people want, right? But for me, I don't know, I kind of get bored of things unless there's something like extremely new. But we went around, we watched one show. We watched the little Circuit Olympic, show that they had going on, and it was, like balancing acts, and like dances and things like that, right? A little bit of
That's pretty
comedy thrown
cool.
in there because there's always has to be a tiny bit of comedy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was some audience participation. Uh, they were like, "Hey, man, we get paid with donations, so here's a little bucket, passing it around."
Yeah.
And that's cool. That's cool. I was gonna pay. The thing is, I don't bring cash anywhere. I only bring card. Maybe I can bring cash next time. That way I can.
Yeah. I feel like that's a good sign to always
I didn't
bring
I
a little
didn't
bit of
think
cash.
about it that much again because Jennifer was kind of the one that prepared it all. But if I
Mm-hmm.
was to go next time, it'd probably be best to bring some money in cash because it kind
Yeah.
of. I didn't want to like leave the show, go to an ATM, and then come back. That just I don't know. That seemed like way too much.
Yeah. I mean, also, I feel like what is it? Grad student Jennifer probably also should have brought some, considering, again, you're highly successful, but she's highly successful. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, not a lot of forethought, but Jennifer ended up inviting her cousin and her cousin's guy friend slash boyfriend slash I think they're confused about it still too. So that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Also her cousin's daughter also came. You know, I think that she's only like a couple months old at this point, so stroller and everything, right?
Imagine if
Uh,
she's like 2 or 3 years old and you just can't tell ages like of babies. You just can't tell.
well, she was in a stroller, is all I know. No, no, I'm pretty sure she was an August baby, probably like early August though.
Mm.
So at this point, not very old.
That is kind of at like a weird age, right? Where it's like you can't bring them anywhere, but you can't not bring them, you know? Because they still need, to eat. and shit.
Yeah,
Well, to eat and shit, yes. That's kind of the
exactly.
main thing that babies do, honestly.
Yeah, so we were kind of just going around doing different things, looking at all the different vendors, right? I
Yeah,
ended up buying we ended up buying a couple things. I bought like Jennifer like a pair of earrings, and then they had like these like carved like roses that she thought were cool, so I got her those, right?
that's cool.
Uh,
That's cool.
we ended up getting like some food. During the middle of the day, it was just like I don't really know where she went. She kind of just like walked away and then walked back with food, and I was like, okay, cool, nice.
What kind of food did you get?
Well, I think during the middle of the day, because we had like kind of ate before we went there, she just wanted like
Mm,
something a little smaller, and it was like these fries that were like nicely seasoned. They had like cheese on them and stuff.
mm-hmm.
They were pretty cool. They were pretty cool. I'm trying to think. She wanted to walk through the garden, which I have to say, not being a nature person and also having walked this path last year, it I kind of feel like I've got the whole experience of the path down from the first time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
So I had the excuse where I was like, we've already done that before, and I don't think it's gonna be different, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't really have a say, because it was kind of her and her cousin against me at that point, and the other guy was just kind of going along with it too at that point.
Honestly, you should never have raised like never. Just don't. Just don't. If you
No, no,
think you are gonna do something, just don't. Just don't. Just give up.
just give up.
Yes, because she
Yeah,
can make your life a living hell.
I was
And
I'm telling you this right now, like this was all going on in my head. I didn't say anything, but I was definitely
yeah,
thinking it. You know what I mean? Right?
yeah, never say that shit out loud. Honestly, don't even let Jennifer listen to this episode because she has the power to make your life a living hell, and she
Bro, no,
knows that she can ask me to help, and I'm, you
here's the
know,
thing,
who
right?
am I to say
I'm
no?
pretty honest with her, right? I'm sure that if she heard this, she wouldn't be surprised. I can tell you that right now.
I don't know, bro. I think it's better to err on the side of
Because
caution.
she always wants to go look at like random things, and I'm like, that's cool, but like after like about 5 seconds, I'm like, I got it, I see it, it's cool. Let's do something more fun now.
Yeah, yeah, I get
That's
that.
that's just me, I'm not as entertained by just I don't know looking at trees, but she likes trees, I guess. I don't know.
Hmm. You have a fucking short attention span as well. So
Uh, For trees, yeah. For trees, I do.
yeah,
So we did that. We ended up. I was trying to find a souvenir for me, right? Because last year I went to the Renaissance Festival. I got myself like a little like short like dagger
yeah,
that I have like just kind of sitting in my room. I wanted something like small, not too big.
yeah,
And I was like, let's try something different this year. I don't want to get another like dagger or another sword or something like that. I want something in a different genre, right?
yeah.
Different
I
different
feel that.
type of thing, right?
Hmm.
And I could have got like a piece of clothing, but the thing with clothing is I feel like if you're getting like medieval themed clothing, when are you gonna have a chance to wear that? Really, realistically,
To the next Renaissance fair, dude. That's how they
exactly.
get you. That's
That
how
that
they get you.
exactly right. So it didn't seem like it would have a lot of use if I got like this really expensive hat or like these like little gauntlets or something like that, right?
Hmm.
And they had like nice masks. They had the clothing there was so nice, but it was also so expensive. And if realistically, if I was like a
Hmm.
character in a video game and I didn't care about my appearance, I would totally walk around in like these cool ass robes. But that's not that's not the reality I live in.
Yeah, imagine. Honestly, honestly, I say the best way to dress is like if you're in a video game with like different gear setups, like you're in like an MMO, and like all your different gear is from like different gear sets, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
like
it's like
the
the perfect
optimal.
build,
Yeah,
but then none of it matches
exactly.
visually.
Exactly. That's how you want to dress in real life. Honestly, fuck the haters. Fuck them. Wear whatever the fuck you want, bro.
Yeah, but
Um,
like another
yeah.
thing that I noticed, I was looking at everybody else's costume and I was like, man, I couldn't think of a single costume idea, and these all would have been much better, or much, I could have done them so nice. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe for Halloween time, if I actually want to get a costume, I have more ideas now.
Yeah, if you ever want to do like a customs or customs couples costume. Yeah, I was trying to say couples costume, and my brain just said, "Why not combine them?"
You see, here's the thing. Like me and my brother, we've been we've talked about this before, doing like a costume, like a group costume, right?
Yeah.
It would be me, him, both of our girlfriends, and then
Mm-hmm.
our one like family friend, right?
Yeah.
But we've not gone through with it. I think that somebody is not liking their they're part of this costume, right?
Do you have any idea who it might be?
Well, let me tell you what the costume is, and let me see if you feel like you could guess, because I have no idea, right?
All right. We'll get down
We
to
were
some
gonna
super
go,
sleuth type shit. Yeah,
we
let's
were
do it.
gonna go as Mystery Incorporated, right?
Mm-hmm.
My brother and my brother's girlfriend were gonna be Shaggy and Velma, and then me and Jennifer would be Fred and Daphne, and then the last person would be Scooby, right?
Mm.
Nice, nice, nice. I didn't see any problem with that, right? But we keep talking about it, and I feel like it would work so well, but we've not gone through with it yet. And maybe one of these years we will. But
Um, you're not Fred,
well, I agree that I'm not Fred, but I feel like my brother really wants to be Shaggy, so I'm just gonna give it to
but
him.
you have all you need to do is grow a little scraggly beard to fit your scraggly mustache,
Well, the
and
thing is, like
then
he's
grow your
like
hair out like me.
taller, you know what I mean? So it would make sense height wise as well.
Shaggy's or Fred's fucking tall.
No, not as tall as Shaggy though. Shaggy's like real tall.
Okay, but Jennifer's really fucking short, right?
Yeah, yeah, but both of the girls are pretty short, to be honest, though.
I don't know. I feel like Jennifer's obviously a fucking Velma.
The thing is, both of our girlfriends are Velmas, but that's the thing. We can't have two Velmas.
I
They're both
think,
short, and they both wear glasses, and they're both Velmas. But that's we can't do two Velmas and two Shaggies. That just wouldn't make sense for the costume.
it would make a lot of sense. It
Like
would make
if
so
we were gonna
much
go with the
sense.
characters that were truest to us, we would have two Shaggies and two Velmas. But me and Jennifer, we're gonna let them be Shaggy and Velma. That way we can have a full set. You know what I mean?
But so I take it that the Scooby is the issue here.
You think that that would be the issue? You think that
I
they're the part of this that's not gonna work out?
I don't know. It's who do you think is raising the most resistance? Because you're the one who talks to them, I guess.
You
I feel
know,
like you should be able to slew this out. You you know you want to be Shaggy and fucking or you want to be Fred and Daphne. You know maybe you ought to call up Velma to help you slew this all out. You know I feel like you're missing a key part of the Scooby Gang, bro.
maybe I could just have my dog be Scoopy. My dog, like, I feel like if we get her to the right collar, you know what I mean? We can make it work. It's not the right type of dog, but hey, that's
If you had the right type of dog, it'd be a bitch to you know walk around with him because if he got excited, he's a fucking what is he, Great Dane? Yeah, he'll like rip your arm out. You know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I feel like my dog would work pretty well. It's like a similar like coat. You know what I mean? Similar
Yeah.
color. All we need to do really is get the collar, and then like
Teach it to
you.
talk.
Well, no. I love where your head's at, but no.
you know, that's I feel like that's grind set behavior, dude. You
We're
gotta
not
get in on
committed.
that.
Yeah, we're
You
definitely not
aren't.
committed
You're
to like
really
years
not.
of dog training.
You're
And,
really not, dude.
yeah.
I don't know what the issue is here, my man. Like I feel like just go for it, man. I don't know what the issue is, but yeah. Sounds fun to me. You know, I'm
If
certain.
realistically though, for this year, I'll probably just reuse the pirate costume
Mm-hmm.
because I use it on the first of the month to go to my friend's birthday party, and then I
Yeah.
use it at the Renaissance Festival. You know, I might as well reuse it. You know what I mean? That way I don't have to get another costume until next year.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. Uh, I, 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 I'm gonna say something, and it's gonna sound really sad. Um, but like it's not as bad as it sounds. Trust me. But like, it's gonna sound really pathetic. But I don't really like have like anyone near me to go do that kind of stuff with. Like, I don't really
To
like have friends, I guess, like to go to like
It
parties and shit.
comes out finally.
Not near me, right? So I have like high school friends. Um, yeah, I have friends who I went to high school with, but um, I'm. It's kind of a long story. I don't know if we have time.
Well,
Uh,
I let me finish my story. You know, maybe we could get back to your story though.
yeah,
So, like I said, I could get a piece of like costume, or I can get a full costume, right? Because I was thinking, right, I could just get like a hat, or I could just get like a pair of gauntlets or something, something like that, right?
yeah,
A leather, I don't know, I don't know. They have a lot of leather. There's so much leather.
yeah. I think those places kind of double as like fetish shows.
Yeah, but what I ended up going with is I got myself like a little like chalice goblet sort of thing.
Yeah,
I got it made out of like it's like made out of metal and everything, you know. It says Renaissance 2022 and it has like a little pirate skull and crossbone on it.
yeah.
And I thought it went well because I had the pirate costume on already, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I got that. That's my little souvenir, right? Maybe next year we can if we roll in a lot of money and I don't like it, that if I don't like my money for some reason and I want to throw it away, I could buy a full costume, and then the next year I wear that costume. You see, it's all coming into motion, isn't it?
Yeah.
But one more thing about the Renaissance Festival that I want to tell you. Oh, actually, no, two more things. One of them is that they end the show every single year the same way. At least the two times that I've went, right?
Mm-hmm.
So around 7 p.m. Uh, around 7 p.m. I think that
Mm-hmm.
sounds right. They start closing down like the park from the back to the front, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there is all the stages get closed except for the arena, which is the one stage in the middle, right? And at the arena, it has a couple shows throughout the day. The only one I've seen at the arena throughout the day was the Joust. I watched that one last year. Didn't watch that one this year though.
Yeah.
Um, we didn't really get to do as much just because of the cousin and the baby. I feel like
Yeah.
there was a lot going on with them over there. You know what I mean? So we were kind of just. I was just doing whatever they said. You know, I wasn't pushing in any direction. I was just following, right?
Yeah.
But they start closing the park down back to front, and everybody kind of gets funneled into this arena, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the arena, around 7 p.m., 8 p.m., it starts getting dark, right? The sun's
Yeah.
setting, it's getting dark. They
As
have
it
a
does.
nice like fire show from like a troupe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this really elaborate little fire show. And there's this one guy in the middle. And let me tell you, I'm pretty sure it's the exact same guy I saw last year. He must
Mm-hmm.
be there. He must be like their number one because he always gets like the coolest tricks. Let me tell you,
Hell yeah, dude.
you know. And then they had a couple of like new people, or I guess some people that were fumbling. Because let me tell you, all day long, both of the shows that I went to, the fire show and that Circa Olympus show, There was lots of fumbles and lots of like mistakes, but definitely rolled with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like that's 99% of performing, you know? Like uh if we have a mistake in the first like 2 minutes, we'll re-record, but like most of the time we just fucking roll with it. But yeah,
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 man. This
I
is one take.
yeah. Shit, we do not like to
N-
re-record.
No bloopers here, guys. You know, all the bloopers are kept in just for y'all's entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah, fucking enjoy it. You
Yeah,
ungrateful
but
fucks.
they have like
Subscribe on Patreon.
they have a little
Give
fire
us
show that
money.
goes on for a while. They have like music in the background. They're doing their thing with the music, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and that's all really cool. There was this, like they said, one of the fumbles that happened during the Circuit Olympus thing was that they were juggling flaming torches while atop like huge exercise balls balancing on them, right?
Mhm.
And they were juggling the torches between two different people, both on balancing balls, right?
Mhm.
While there was a person in the middle doing like a handstand split,
That's pretty
right?
cool.
Right, and they were throwing it above them. And I guess one of them just failed to catch it. I don't think it was like a bad throw. It was just probably a bad catch. Because the
Mhm.
person in the middle was fine. The person in the middle just had to stay there the entire time though, while they had to pick up the torch and everything, which I thought was pretty funny. They were
That is
just
pretty rough.
they were just chilling there, handstanding it on, you know.
Yeah.
And then during the fire show, uh, they had like jump ropes on fire, and it was like a double dutch sort of situation. There was two jump ropes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And they twisted on each other, and they caught the person in the middle,
That's
right?
pretty cool.
And they were on fire for a second, but they must have had like real flame resistant clothes because they weren't that much on fire for the amount of fire that was on those ropes, right?
Mhm.
You know, and that's you know, but after that, there was a part where they were like throwing things, and again, I guess they must have thrown it at the wrong time because there was this one guy who had their back to the people that were throwing at him, right?
Yeah.
And the little flame sticks landed like right beside him, and he just turned around and started like he made like a really angry expression at them. I couldn't hear what he said or if he said anything, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, that's probably not scripted. You know what I mean? I was like, possibly it is, but it
You
was.
never know. I think that's
Uh,
again, I think that's just the sign of a good performer is can you tell if it's scripted or not?
yeah, but after that, they do a fire show both years that I've been there, and then after the fire show, they do a fireworks show, right? A
Yeah.
huge fireworks show.
Mhm.
They also have like I don't know what it was, but there was like this loud kind of like explosive thing they had in the middle, right? And it
Mhm.
made heat emanate through the entire like a heat wave emanate through the entire field. More so than with a fire, you would think, right? I don't know what it was, but they just like it just went boom and like a heat wave just hit all of us at once. It
That's
was
pretty
very
cool.
it was very jarring, but it's pretty cool. But like I said, like it's the same thing, so it's kind of hard to be as excited the second time. But still, pretty cool, pretty cool.
Well, all I know is uh A, I've never been back, and B, we do have to do a little ad break here, folks. Thank you guys for listening so far, and we hope you'll stay with us. This episode has been generously sponsored by skunknuggetparenting.com, run by my own talented mother. Parenting is hard. Sometimes kids and parents are like night and day. It can be very hard to get on the same page with them, and a lot of parents have anxiety that maybe they're doing it all wrong. Luckily, there is a service out there that can help. Skunk Nugget Parenting Solutions is a company that provides parent coaching services, resource referrals, and psychological profiling, along with 24/7 phone and text access in an all virtual program. Plus, the first consultation is free. In order to get this amazing service, please visit skunknuggetparenting.com. That is skunknuggetparenting.com. Thank you to Skunk Nugget Parenting Solutions for sponsoring this episode. Thank you all for listening. And now, back to the podcast. Hello, and welcome back to what is the season finale episode of the Doctor Who Dong Watch, everyone's favorite podcast within a podcast, where we answer the burning question that everyone's had for the last 10 weeks. Do we see Matt Smith's penis in episode 10 of season 1 of House of the Dragon? And the answer is no. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Thank you guys for sticking with us. I think we were talking about uh, we kind of left finishing up with the Renaissance Fair story. I think we should probably talk about. I feel like we should qualify the statement I made earlier about how I have no friends. Um. I guess I think like I said. I do have friends. I'm not a
Well,
fucking loser.
as
Okay.
his friend, if I don't know if other people would tolerate the way that you treat me as a friend.
You know, my mom was just telling me this, right? Literally before we started the session, she was like, "Damn, I'm surprised he puts up with all of your shit." I don't know where you guys are getting this from. I'm a fucking saint. I'm
Well,
an absolute saint.
if you're hearing it from multiple people, then I feel like maybe you're the problem.
No, Jennifer
No.
agrees with me. Jennifer agrees with me. Yeah,
But
Jen
here's
thinks
the
you deserve
thing,
it.
right? Jennifer, I feel like would rather agree with you and you stop talking than have a conversation about it. You know what I mean?
No.
She's
Um,
like, if I tell him what he wants to hear, I don't have to hear him anymore.
no. Um, but anywho, what the full statement there is I don't have any friends near me. I do have friends from where I went to high school, but sort of what happened was um I moved away uh right after I graduated. So I was a semester grad. So right at like December, I those my last day of class was in December of 2019. I took uh finals for those classes and I was done. So I did those and then I got out. Um, and then in about mid January, I started college. And then at the end of January to the early February, I moved to. Um, I moved states, so about an hour away. It used to be closer. It used to be only about like 30, 35, 40 minutes. But the traffic has just been a nightmare. Like every single time that I've tried to go through there. So now it's more like an hour or an hour and a half even. So all my high school friends are like an hour away. And the college that I started at when we moved is a commuter campus. So people don't live there. People aren't spending all their time there, including me. And then immediately right as I started, the pandemic happened. So, um, like I hadn't really met anyone before the classes kind of moved online and like the school shut down. And I just haven't been back in person until this semester because I didn't know, okay, is the school going to shut down and where are we going to have to go all online again? But I needed to take an in-person class for my for my degree to graduate because this is going to be my last semester, at least for my associates. So I needed to be in person. So I am here. You're really sniffing over there, bud.
Just
Yeah.
chilling. Don't
Mm.
worry about me. I'll mute myself. You do your thing.
It sounds like you're doing cocaine over there, but okay. Um, yeah. So we yeah, so I just moved to to a commuter campus, and I didn't commute there for a long while, so I never really met anyone. And I'm there for about 3 hours, 2 days a week, so I like 6 hours total, and then I'm gone. So I don't really talk to people outside of like like uh a class situation, I guess. For lack of a better word, there was a word that I was going to use after that, but whatever. But like outside of class, I don't really like talk to people. So I just never really made friends at this new school. So I just I don't really have any friends near me to go do like Halloween stuff. And Halloween's not even my favorite holiday, so I don't really go and do anything. Even when I did have friends, I didn't really do anything for Halloween. I haven't. I don't think I've dressed up in like 9 years now, which is crazy to me. The one thing I do for Halloween that I want to do more, and it's been about half a decade since I've done it, but I figured out I'm really good at it. Is I like to carve pumpkins, but I can only carve one design, but I'm very good at it. I do a really good middle finger in I started it when I was at boarding school. I lived in the apartments, and like our little independent living manager was not there at the time. So like we just had like normal chaperones, but I was like we had like an extra one laying around, and I wasn't into carving. I think what we were doing was we were doing pumpkin seeds in the oven, and I was hanging out with those. But I was like, you know what? There's an extra pumpkin in there. Let me try something. Because like we weren't gonna use it for anything. We'd already gotten all the seeds out, so it was just like, whatever. Nobody really wanted to carve an extra one, so I was like, you know what? I'll do it. And I carved in a middle finger because we were like, we'll just smash it afterwards, right? It doesn't really matter. But it turned out really, really, really good. Oh fuck you! All right, I've just checked the chat. Your My co-host thinks he's a real funny guy. So let me finish this story and I'll tell you what he fucking said. But yeah, I carved a middle finger pumpkin and it was really good. And so we showed it to the independent living manager and he was like, he was actually like so impressed with it. He was like, "Damn, you did a really good job." So he let me keep it in the backyard because we lived in like Mormon country, so like obviously we couldn't put it in the front, or our landlords would kill us. But we put it in the backyard on a chair and we just left it there. It went bad like months later, but we just had it out there because nobody wanted to clean it up. But so what he's saying in the chat right now, uh, he's when I said he was sniffing cocaine, he said it's a secret cocaine. And then when I said I don't really dress up, he says I dress like a goblin every day. And then he said I seen the pumpkin, it's pretty mid. And then he said nothing compared to my grade A pumpkin designs. And all I'm gonna say is that I'm gonna carve my magnum opus this weekend. I'm
Is it going to
doing
be the exact same design again?
You're goddamn right it is, and
You
it's
know
gonna
what?
look really good.
I'm gonna have you seen my pumpkin designs? I might post them on. I might have posted some of them on Instagram before, but
I don't think I've ever seen yours, but how about this
you
year?
know,
I'm doing my third middle finger, and if I and we'll put it on Twitter, and we'll see which of you guys uh which one you guys prefer. But
let me let me send you some of my previous ones. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do one this year, but I'll send you mine. We can see your live reaction, but you just do your thing until then. Don't worry, don't worry.
all right, well, yeah, that's sort of the only Halloween tradition I do is the middle finger pumpkin. I call it the fuck you pumpkin. Um, it's pretty fun. I'm not one for Halloween, but that is a fun thing to do. And it does honestly look pretty good. I'm not that talented in any other kind of art, but I was really surprised that I got it right, and I was really surprised that I got it to stand up because I didn't think that it would like hold under its own weight. Because what I did was I like chopped out like a thin little like imprint out of it, so like all I really did, I didn't use a whole lot or cut a whole lot out. I carved out I left the pumpkin side in and then the pumpkin outside, and so I just carved out the little like shape of it. And I didn't think it would stand up. I thought the piece that was sort of like unattached would kind of like keel over and die, but it really didn't. It stayed in place that whole time. So when we did put a candle in it just for shits and gigs, you can actually like see through it, and it's really cool. And so, you know what? I'm gonna be proud of myself for that. Okay, I'm not. Yeah. Okay. Fuck you. First of all, you have too much time on your hands. He just showed me. I have seen it before. He did Venom, or is that Venom or Carnage? Either way. And he has
It's
way too much
Venom.
time on his hands. Okay, I get something of higher or of higher comedic value.
It did take me several hours of just
Yeah,
sitting at a pumpkin, but still,
that took you
the
several
effort
hours.
shows, shows. You know what I mean?
I do mine in less than 5 minutes,
Hey, man,
and I
I
think mine's a hell of a lot funnier. That's all I'm gonna say.
I
You
don't
know,
know, man. I don't know.
I think there's three S's for Halloween. I've kind of come up with this theory when it comes to Halloween, especially Halloween costumes. I think there's three S's. I
Yeah, of
think
course, of
there's
course.
silly, I think there's scary, and I think there's sexy. And
Really, those are the three.
I mean, think about it. What every Halloween costume fits into one of those three categories, right? You know, think
Not
about it.
not exactly. I feel like you could have like a
Every
very,
adult
very
Halloween costume falls into one of those three categories.
I don't know, because like you could have like a very, very like well done, not silly costume that's also not scary or sexy. You know what I mean? It could just be like a nice mid costume.
Okay, but that doesn't fit in. All right, specialty. All right, four S's. Fuck you for
It
shooting
doesn't
my
really seem like
theory.
I feel like it wouldn't really be a specialty costume either. I feel like it would just be like a nice like cool. That's a costume.
No, my four S's theory is correct.
What is specialty? Is specialty just your version of miscellaneous?
No, it's like so. It's like if you're going as like a specific character but doesn't fit into any of those, and you're like, but you're like still trying to do like a costume that's like
I feel
like
like
you're
most of the costumes I do probably would fit into that fourth S. You know what I mean? Where it's like well done, but it's not scary particularly. You know?
yeah. So it's like you're specially dressing up for like this day of the year. Like it's like if you do like a kind of uh like that's where like cosplay would fit in, right? Like if you were doing cosplay
Yeah.
for Halloween, that's yeah. I would consider that specialty, right?
Except for
Because it's like a cost.
sexy cosplay, and then it would be sexy, of course.
Yeah, and then well, they can fit into multiple
Oh, it's like a Venn
categories, right?
diagram. I see. I see.
Yes, yes. It's a four circle Venn diagram. Um,
A four-circle Venn diagram.
um, but I sometimes silly and spooky don't really go well together, just because they're sort of like diametrically opposed. Um, but yeah, I think there's can be overlap between those. Yeah, but I think most Halloween costumes sort of fit in there. But yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say about Halloween because this is not the Halloween special episode. We're doing that next week. We need to shut up about Halloween. We need to shut the fuck up about Halloween. Um, yeah. Speaking of things that we're not talking about, bunch of TV shows wrapped up last week. Um, uh, First was She-Hulk, wrapped up last Thursday. As we're recording this, at least.
I'm excited to watch it.
Uh, I was gonna get into spoilers about it.
Oh, I don't want to
Just
be spoiled, man.
okay. Um, let's just say it was very meta. It had a very meta finale, and it was very very. It I really enjoyed the finale. I know a lot of people
Mm.
are like, yeah, but no, I thought it was actually really funny. I thought it was a really good finale.
Like there was a guy, the guy I bought the earrings from at Renaissance Festival.
Yeah.
he was like, "Hey, have you guys seen the finale for She-Hulk?" And I was like, "No, I haven't." And he was like, "Well, I don't want to spoil it, but it's like super duper good." And he started like going talking about like the other episodes and all that. He was really into it, you know. And I
Yeah,
was, and then we didn't watch it. You know what I mean? So hopefully this weekend we remember this time.
I think that Daredevil was a very good serious take on what it's like to be a lawyer in the MCU, even though it doesn't get into like MCU type stuff, but it's like, balancing superhero stuff with lawyer stuff. I think She-Hulk did a very good job taking that concept, and while Daredevil did a serious side of it, um She-Hulk did a very comedic side of it. And I thought that was really nice. I thought it was um yeah, I thought it was really cool to sort of see that side of it. Plus, we got some pretty cool stuff that happened in that finale. I don't want to get into anything like that, but there were some pretty cool reveals. I'm pretty
Ooh,
excited about
how
some game
exciting!
changers. Yeah,
I think that I'm all caught up besides She-Hulk at this point, and the Netflix shows, which I may or may not ever watch. But
yeah. Um, so that ended on Thursday. I think overall, first season of She-Hulk probably won't be the last, but first season of She-Hulk, I would give it a 6.5 to 7 out of 10. Probably closer to 7 than 6.5. Like 6.8, I guess. Um, I didn't necessarily look forward to it every week, but I would typically watch it either like right before I got ready for school or after I got home from school. And it wasn't bad. I can think of worse ways to spend like 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. Um uh Also wrapped up was the first season of Amazon Prime's Rings of Power. Have you been watching that?
what Rings of Power?
Jesus fucking Christ. Apparently not. Um it's so Lord of the Rings is in the third
Oh, you
age.
know what? I do know what Rings of Power is because I saw on my recommended for YouTube one day, Moist Critical
Yeah,
talked
he's
about it.
bitching about it. He's bitching about it
Yeah,
because yeah. No, don't believe him. He's got some good opinions, but his like entertainment takes are kind of trash.
he was wearing a black shirt. It seemed pretty serious. Usually he's wearing a white shirt.
It Don't believe him. He's just one of the fucking dude bros who is just like, it's boring. The ruins the characters. I don't remember anything about it. It's
I only
it's
watched about like 2 minutes of it because I was like, I don't really understand what he's talking about. But hey,
Yeah. Well, I watched it every Friday. I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I I don't want to get into spoilers for that one either, because I think recommend is my opinion on it. It's not terrible. Don't believe the hype for what anyone says about it. Um,
it's a
Honestly,
mid show. You know what I mean, guys?
it's
From what I've
not
heard
mid.
about it, I've never watched
Okay,
it. But I've heard that it's not great, but it's also not terrible. So that means that it's mid. Because that's literally the definition of mid.
but it's not like mediocre. I think it's divisive. I don't think it's like I don't think you should look at it from like the average perspective. I think you should look at it as like it is going to be polarizing. I think what happened with it is that a lot of people were primed to hate it by people who had like negative like thoughts about it going into it because they were, oh, it's a black dwarf woman, or oh, it's a black elf. And yeah, it fucking sucks. It A lot of people were primed into that by there were some people who were actively racist, and then there were some people who uh, wanted you to think that it's the writing is bad in air quotes. Like they won't like actually say anything, but like the shows they like are even worse. Um, and then there are people who were just primed to view it negatively because of the people in the other two categories. But I went into it without like any expectations at all. It is not my favorite. Uh I honestly I don't know right now. Like there's four shows that sort of have been going on in the last few weeks. There's been Andor, uh Rings of Power, She-Hulk, and House of the Dragon. And I talk about House of the Dragon every week. But, that's something else. But
So
um
wait, they're different shows. I thought they were the
yes.
same thing. Oh my
No,
god.
House of the Dragon is Game of Thrones prequel. Rings of Power is a Lord of the Rings prequel.
You see, you said prequel, and the shows I feel like to me are the same thing because I don't know either one of them.
See, all right.
They all blend
Now,
together, you know.
I'm going to say something kind of rash, kind of brash, whatever. I am more invested. I was more invested in Rings of Power than I was in House of the Dragon because I don't give a shit about Game of Thrones. I never watched Game of Thrones. I went into it not knowing or like not watching Game of Thrones. All I know is like um how it starts, like the shit that happens in like season 1 and then the shit that happens in season 8. I don't remember what happened or I don't know what happens between 2 to 7. That's sort of, and I only know the Cliff's notes from season 1 and season 8. So, I don't know. I never really I never started Game of Thrones because I was too young when it started, and it's uh 6.5 good seasons of television to watch, and I can never find time.
You know,
So,
I have put in time to like binge shows before, right?
mm-hmm.
But usually the show has to be like interesting enough to me because I haven't binged a show in such a long time. I am kind of the one I've been watching on and off for the past couple weeks has been Solar Opposites.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm.
I've been liking that one. It's pretty interesting. If you kind of like the style of humor, you know, it's a very specific style of humor.
Yeah, but
But yeah, like before that, I haven't watched anything in a while.
yeah, I don't know. I just think it's I there's been no shows that I'm like super excited about. Like the last show that was really like that for me was probably Obi-Wan Kenobi or Moon Knight. Um but yeah, I guess, since then there hasn't really been or no, Stranger Things. Stranger Things season 4 I I d- I don't know if I was really excited for that, but I certainly binged the hell out of it. Um
The
and
thing
and
is,
it
like,
turned out really good.
most shows are like doing like the weekly format now.
Yeah, they've gone back to it.
Yeah, which I guess makes sense like from a monetary standpoint, right?
Mhm. I don't
But
know. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I think I'd still rather like prefer to binge things than keep up with them constantly.
Oh, so you've changed your tune from how you were in the pilot
That's
episode.
like I know that I did say that before, right? But I feel like if I am only like mildly interested in something and you're like asking me to come back every week, eventually it's gonna become too much of a chore, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
Whereas I can get more easily invested if I finish the first episode and I'm like, oh man, what happens in the second episode? And I just click it, right?
yeah.
Because my
So
interest might not hold for a whole week. That's what I'm trying to say, right?
yeah, I think um I think a telling thing is that I was on a road trip to like I said, I went to go see the Notre Dame game, and so I had a decent road trip to get there, and I could have watched Rings of Power because we went on Friday. I could have watched it, but I didn't. Instead, I just listened to music the whole way there and back. I waited until I was like, on my couch to like actually sit down and watch it, and that was on like Sunday. And I I didn't feel bad about skipping it. I downloaded the Prime Video app and everything, and I just never got around to it. So I guess that can kind of like you can kind of draw whatever conclusions from that you want because I can't tell you what to make of it, but um I think it I I would recommend it. I would wholeheartedly recommend Rings of Power. Like just it's pretty. It's nice to watch. It's a nice way to spend you know an hour to of your week. But I mean, well, now it's over, so you got to watch like all what 7, 8, 9, 10 episodes. Um, but yeah, I didn't hate it. Uh, but yeah, I I didn't feel like I was super excited for any of those, but I'm kind of bored now that they're gone, if that makes sense. I'm kind of like bummed out that they're gone and that Andor and House of the Dragon are going to be having their um House of the Dragon is having its season finale on Sunday and Andor is having its season finale on Wednesday. So I guess next week while we do our spooky special um we'll we'll find a way to talk about those as well. But I guess for now, I guess that's sort of how I felt about that. Um,
Yeah.
I guess before we do the big red button, I kind of wanted to pose you a question, Daniel San.
Tell me, what's your question?
If you had all the money in the world to, or sorry, if we, the business, the incredibly influential and highly successful podcast, had all the money in the world to pay an artist for the license for one of their songs to use as the theme song for the podcast, which would you pick? What song would you pick?
Oh my god. I'm so very, very bad with like music, you know? I don't like listen to anything that's mainstream, but I'm gonna try my best to think of something real quick. A theme song.
Yeah. So like
Do
how
you
like theme
have
songs work.
you have an answer? I'm sure, but I'm trying to think.
I I've been thinking about it, but not like seriously. Because I
Because the
like the
thing
intro we
is,
have.
like, how often do I listen to like theme songs or songs that can be theme songs? Not 100% very often. You know what I mean, right?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of songs that would translate fairly well. I think the main thing for a theme song is that it has to have a very strong 3 seconds at the beginning.
I feel like I have to choose a song that you know either has no words or the words somehow perfectly align with what the podcast I guess encapsulates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't think of a song that it perfectly encapsulates the podcast that has words, right? So I gotta go
Mm-hmm.
think about this. We could do something like we can go classical, some classical. Just put on some what's that one song? Fur Elise, that one. Do that one. Sure. I can't think of anything. So I'm just gonna cop out and just say the first song I think of.
Fure Elise would be a terrible theme song.
Yeah, very very bad, but it's I can't think of a single thing. You put me on the spot here, man.
Also, that's not technically a song because a song has to have words.
Oh,
I
so
think
it
that's
ha-
a sonata technically.
Oh, a
To
sonata. Oh, yeah.
yes,
Okay, let's get very, very specific
yeah,
about these little phrases. Okay. Fine. You
yeah.
know what? I watched Spider-Verse before. We'll just use Sunflower. How about that? Yeah. That's our theme song now. Sunflower.
I wish. I mean, honestly, I wish we could use like an actual like real theme. I think it would be really cool. I don't even care if like it wouldn't even work at all. Just like the just like Welcome to the Jungle, the first verse up to the first chorus would be a really sick theme song. Maybe just like the intro guitar riff would be really cool. But, honestly it wouldn't even work. We are not badass enough to use Welcome to the fucking Jungle by
I
Guns
like
N' Roses as our
I don't know,
fucking theme
I don't know
song.
why, but I imagine like Welcome to the Jungle, right? There's like some like animated like thing. A big explosion happens at the end, and we're both sitting down at a table with like sunglasses on, right?
Yeah.
And like
But
we transition from the explosion to us.
yeah, yeah, or just like the guitar like fades out into the hello and welcome to the incredibly blah 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 blah. That I don't
Exactly. I don't
know.
know. The sunglasses are a requirement, though. I don't know why I feel that, but
Yeah, I just like guitars. I just fucking like guitar solos, dude. I like big fucking uh heavy metal guitars. I there's a really 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 good um uh album that I really like.
oh yeah. Did you let me guess.
No,
Let me guess. I'm good at this. I got this. Don't worry.
you're never gonna get it. I mean, we don't have enough time for you to guess, but it would be really funny. But
Okay. Okay.
the
Okay. I'll type
the
it out because I can't pronounce it very well.
no, it's so the
You,
first
you you just do your thing. I'll type it out.
okay, so the first the album that I'm talking about that I've really gotten back into recently is the first album by The Darkness. Uh, it's called Permission to Land. If you don't know The Darkness, you do. They're the people who made the song. Oh yeah, I've seen that. He's talking about Brian David Gilbert's Halloween album. Um, BDG's Hebe BGs. Yes, I know.
Yeah, I cannot pronounce it. I just stumble so hard.
Just don't rush into it. But they're the people who made I Believe in a Thing Called Love. Everyone knows that song. But like that first album, some of the tracks on there go hard as fuck. I think like the intro guitar theme from the first track on that album called Black Shuck. Oh my god, that would fuck as a theme song. But again, we're not nearly badass enough for a heavy metal intro, dude. We're
Hey
not
man,
nearly badass enough for
I have a
that.
red leather jacket and sunglasses. I could slick back my hair. We can go for the greaser look. We got it.
I,
We don't
Greaser
need.
is
I don't know. We can make it work.
no.
My brother has a motorcycles license. We can get the motorcycle. I don't know how we're gonna incorporate that into the intro. Maybe we'll have like a little like a filmed intro, right?
Mm-hmm.
Transition into us sitting at the desk. I'm thinking about it. It's all. He'll be driving the motorcycle. We'll edit me over him. Right? I can already tell this is gonna be great.
No. No. No.
No,
No.
well, okay, okay. Well, you're giving up before we've fully developed the idea, right?
Um. No. We are never going to be badass enough for an intro that fucks that hard.
No, no, no. We don't need to be badass enough. We just need to pretend. They need to think that we're badass enough. We don't actually need
Okay,
to be badass enough.
but they listen to the podcast, so they would know. I
Okay,
don't
okay.
know.
But I'm assuming at this point, we would be far enough along where this one random episode, as long as a lot of the first couple of episodes, they'll be lost to time.
No.
It'll be a new era of highly successful and incredibly influential. You know what I mean?
No. My name comes first of all.
I know that
um.
you think that, but in the future,
I wrote it. I came up with it, motherfucker. I wrote it out. Anywho, we're running out of time. We can't be arguing about this the whole time. We've still got a big red button to do. I have one. I don't know if you have one, but I have one.
I do not. I'm very unprepared.
Okay, maybe you should do the next. Maybe you should do the next one. Come up with a spooky one. Um, but all right. You have mind control over everyone for the entire day. You get 1 day, and you can mind control everyone.
Sure.
But the whole day, you cannot get up off the toilet because you have terrible diarrhea.
Okay. Okay.
What are you
Well,
thinking there, boss?
I'm thinking. I'm thinking about this real hard. Right. Now, I feel like this is like a button that I would like put to the side. I come up with like a nice little plan. I'd really try to think about everything I could do with this mind control, right? And then when the
Mm-hmm.
time came, then I would click it, right? But without that well thought out plan and all that, just at this very moment, asking me with no preparation, probably not gonna click the button, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel right now.
You all right? I would say. Well, I would say that the horrible bathroom experience is going to keep you up all night. So I would say you're going to get the whole 24 hours.
Yeah,
So
that's not the issue. It's just like I said, I'm trying to plan out the best way to use these 24 hours, right? That's why I'm saying.
yeah, like trying to make the best of it. I would say that you've got a lot of time to think of things to do what like to do stuff there. I just think how distracting would it be to be constantly shitting your guts out the whole fucking time? Is that's sort of my whole thing. Uh yeah. I don't know. I feel like um I feel like there's only certain things that you could do with it, but overall, I would say the usefulness probably outweighs the cons. I guess if you got like how much notice would you want? Like how much notice would you want? Like minimum amount of notice beforehand for you to accept it, I guess is the question.
I feel like you got to give me like 3 days, like a week, maybe. Around that time period. That way,
Mhm.
I could sit down. I could try to like brainstorm. Like, what are we gonna do about this, right?
Yeah.
We get down to the bottom of it, because I'm trying to think. I can't even think of the full possibilities of it even now, right? There's so many things I'm probably gonna be missing out on if I was clicking the button now. That's why I need that extra time.
Yeah. I I would say the minimum amount of notice um that I would want is probably 48 hours. If I got 48 hours to prepare to brainstorm, I think I could do it. I feel like you would be able to get a lot done in the first 2 to 3 hours of the terrible mind control diarrhea day.
See, I'm thinking, right? I'm thinking what we do is we get somebody mind control like a lawyer or something, right?
Mhm.
Get him to make some great contracts for us, right? Then mind control those people to sign away lots of things to us. That way, after the day, we'll be like, "Well, you signed it." You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
they can't go back on it, right? Legally binding, right?
Yeah.
You did sign, like, I'm sorry, Elon, you signed away your entire fortune. Why would you do that if you didn't want to? You know what I mean? That's crazy.
Okay, we wouldn't want to draw too much suspicion, but I
No,
think
okay,
like
that was an example, but you know what I mean,
yeah,
right?
I
Like
think getting a nice
we'll
advertising contract on this for
like
like for the
we'll
podcast wouldn't be too bad.
we'll go to a realtor, and we'll mind control them to sell me a giant mansion for $0.
Well, then the IRS would start looking into that, and we don't want that.
Well, look. Like I said, if we had more time to think about it, I'd be able to think about all the loopholes a little bit more. I'm thinking that if we go the legal route, we have a fallback in case they're like, oh man, we didn't give you that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We still got to make sure that after the day is over, we have some nice assets in place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like for example, you'll sign a multi-year contract, right? For advertisements or whatever you want to do, right?
Yeah.
That way it's legally binding for many, many years. And by then, hopefully we'll actually we'll be able to go there by ourselves, right?
Yeah. I would say I would mind control like a bunch of people to follow us. Like I would just start mind controlling. Like I would give us like an audience of like go from like 10 or 11 average viewers to 10 or like to 10 or 11,000, per day. Or per episode, right? Like that would be the tits, right? We would never have to fucking work again, you know?
Yeah. Why not just mind control everybody that has a working internet connection
Yeah,
to
yeah.
click on our episode 1 and watch every single episode start to finish.
Well, that's more than
Uh,
26 hours now. The 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 mind control would run out long before
you're
then.
you're right. We'll have some people start from the back, some people start from the front, right? The middle episodes might not get as much love, right? But
No, the middle episodes would get a lot of love because there would be overlap.
oh yeah, wait,
Um,
yeah, there you go. See,
yeah,
it works. It all works.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think honestly, I think the best way to do that is to set yourself up with something that can benefit you, further along down the line, but not rouse too much suspicion. Is all
Yeah,
I would
you're
say.
right. You get the advertisements, right, on all of our episodes, and then you make them watch. A
Yeah,
dollar per viewer. A dollar per viewer. That's a contract, right?
yeah. I mean, I guess.
And then we'll rake in millions of dollars in one day.
Hmm.
And it's legally binding, so I don't see a problem at all.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I don't know. Uh, I don't know. I think definitely 100%. There's no way that the like if we're doing a CBA here, a cost benefit analysis, the benefits far outweigh the cost. 100%. 100%. You're there's no way that like I've had pretty bad Hershey squirts, but fuck
The
no,
the
that's
the
that's
only
worth it.
limit is your creativity. You know what I mean, right?
Exactly. You got to make the best of it. But yeah,
Right?
I
You could like you can go to all those like super rare Pokemon, collectors, have them sell their entire collection for like $1 to you. Flip it the next day.
yeah.
You could do pretty much anything. Like I said, it's only limited by the how creative you want to be.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I yeah. I don't really have anything to add after that. I think that's all we can yeah. That's all I could say about it. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think we're all good.
Yeah. Uh I want to make sure we thank our patron, Justin Connor. Thank you very much for supporting us financially. It helps us to bring this out to you guys. And yeah, if you guys want to support us on Patreon, it's patreon.com/IIHS podcast, all one word. On Twitter, we are at IIHS podcast. On Instagram, we are the same. Make sure to follow us there. We update you about when there's a new episode, and then if we want some, if you guys want to do some audience participation, that's the best way to reach us. But yeah, I think other than that, I've been incredibly influential.
And I've been highly successful.
Thank you guys very much for listening. We'll talk to you guys next week with the spooky season spectacular.